Welcome to CEO Insight's Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. Welcome to CEO Insight's Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. Is the strongest enterprise are those that constantly evolve. It's no longer the game of how big you are, but now the game is how big your ecosystem is.
Now, but I think this really speaks volume why we're attracted to hang out with one another. Like for example, in CEO Insights Asia, I really like spending time there because I'm surrounded with like-minded people. So,
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CEO Insights Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. Today's talk is about the checklist CEO. And the key message that we want to communicate is after this session, you'll be able to create your own dailies. So ano ba yung dailies na yon? Mamaya, malalaman natin yan. Uy, nandito si Lizelle. Shout out kay Lizelle, ha? Welcome. All right, so a quick reminder lang why we do this every Friday at 10 a.m. We want to install DNA principles that scale organizations. Again, the key message is that the participants natin, the 18 million participants na nandito ngayon sa Zoom meeting, as well as sa live stream natin, please don't forget to share the live stream para mas malawak ang reach natin. Anyway, doon sa mga nakikinig noon at saka yung mga nakikinig ng live replay sa ating page at sa ating YouTube channel, sa Spotify podcast. What we want for you to accomplish is that you'll be able to get at least one idea, just one, that you can immediately install or apply into your organizations. Right? So ang focus natin for this month is all about being methodical, manifesting an insatiable drive to be better. And we'll talk about obsessing in performance, immersing in details, and then living in ideas. So just a quick overview kung ano ang mga titles na pag-uusapan natin in the coming weeks. Last week, we talked about the system of systems. So we talk about the franchise model and how it's a powerful example on how to scale your business. If you want to understand kung anong ibig sabihin nun, just go to our YouTube channel, watch the live replay sa CEO page natin, CEO Insights Asia page, sa Spotify if you're driving and you want to listen, sa Spotify na lang natin yung podcast natin, at saka kung saan-saan pang platform, Google pa pala, no? Ayan, now we'll talk about the checklist CEO. Next week, may bakasyon tayo. So we have invited a very prominent speaker to talk about walking the talk. And then I'll be back on week 4 to talk about the devil in details. So a few announcements. No, that's not true. It's not few. Ang dami nating announcements kasi ang daming ganap na nangyayari ngayon. Alright, so as mentioned, next week, I will be celebrating our wedding anniversary. Yan, we've been together for the past 11 years. 7 of those are being together as a married couple. So medyo magbabakasyon muna kami ng ating family. And with that, we have invited one of our founding partners, ang InnoVenture CEO and founder na si Jason De La Rosa. Bounce back, Riselli, who with this very busy schedule, he allowed us to share. He enabled us, or he allowed this time na ibigay sa atin. So he'll be talking about walking the talk next week, creating an innovation system. Yan. So that's one announcement, and then I'll be back on March 24. Next, circle meeting. So si Jeline, one of the CEOs, she's a CEO of a multinational firm dito, Envision, and she will be hosting every Tuesday at 11 a.m. So if you're not part of a circle, I have no idea why. Ang daming nangyayari sa circle meetings. We've actually birthed another one. So just to show you a photo, this is what happened last Tuesday. So medyo dumadami na tayo birthing new ones. And these are the circle multipliers that we have right now. So ang dami nangyayari. So please, Tuesday at 11 a.m., if you're not yet connected to a circle, I have no idea why. So just message us, message the page, and we'll connect you. Yan. Tapos Multiplier Mastermind, we do this once a month, every first Thursday of the month. And this is a venue where multipliers, the people who facilitate circles, exchange best practices in terms of beginning, building, and birthing CEO circles. So this is what happened yesterday, just to show you a photo. Ayan. So next month, we'll have We Trade CEO, Coach RD, who will be facilitating the Multiplier Mastermind. And ito, isa sa pinaka-excited akong workshop na attendan. Niyayabang ko na nga kanina si Coach Ron, no? Strengths Unlock Workshop. Coach Ron is well-known. He's a certified Gallup coach. So he is conducting once a month, I believe, ng mga individual workshops in unlocking our strengths. And nag-usap kami kahapon. Nag-sign up na ako dyan. Ang ano nga lang, March 19, so wala tayo rito. Please sign up. And if you are part of CEOInsight Asia, you're an official member, grabe ang generosity ni Coach Ron. He has provided a discount of 1,000 pesos. So murang-mura na yan. So it's a 2-day workshop. Si Coach Ron na lang ang magbibigay ng link sa chat. Yan, sign up. So baka April, pag kayo ay nag-sign up sa April, classmates tayo. Ayan. So if you want to know more, just approach or message Coach Ron when it comes to the workshop. Ayan. So last but not the least, mamaya na to. Bose Coffee founder and CEO Steve Benitez will be our faculty for our event later. Ayan. He is very generous in sharing his time and he wanted to be informal. Gusto niyang conversation. So I encourage you to join the link, the Zoom link. Kasi it will be broadcast in Facebook Live, sure. But hindi namin siya hindi namin siya ma-entertain kasi we're busy in the Zoom meeting. Tsaka mas intimate and mas interactive sa Zoom. So para dun sa mga nasa Facebook Live, my goodness, di ba? Join na kayo rito so we'll have more interaction. Ayan. So mamaya to, 5 p.m. And then have that fireside chat with him. Okay, enough about announcement. Let's go to the agenda. Excited ako rito. Okay, we'll do a conversation starter. Nandito na si Dayan. Shout out kay Dayan. Ang una kong tatanungin sa question. At saka si Errol. Oy, Alagang Romano is here. CEO of Romano Essentials. Tanungin na rin natin siya. We'll do a case study. And then I'll make things personal. And then we're going to talk about why many don't use checklists. And then why checklist matters. And then we'll get practical. So, ready na ba kayo? Okay, please type, I am ready. If you are ready to dig deep in our conversation. Ayan, maraming salamat sa mga nag-chat. So, Dayan, uunahin na kita. Very simple question lang naman ito. Andito ka na, di ba? Ayan. Tama ba?
Yes, sir.
Ayan, Dayan. First question for you. How do you organize your day?
Well, kasi ang dailies is infused na sa amin. So, dailies po talaga yung sinusunod namin. So, pag walang dailies, hindi talaga pwedeng sumingit. So, yun. Sir. Mas okay na yung kami nagpapa-andar ng araw namin kaysa kami pinapa-andar ng araw namin.
Oo nga eh. Nakakainis ka hapon.
Sorry, sir.
Ng meeting, bumalik sa akin eh. Pero wala sa daily. Nakakainis ibabalik sa yung mga sinasabi mo. Yung mga sinaserm mo babalik sa. Anyway, sige. Si Sir Errol. Sige, Sir Errol, ikaw naman.
Hi, good morning po.
How do you organize your day?
Ganun din sir, actually namulat nyo na rin ho kasi ako sa sa dailies no? Pero every start of the week Sunday, nililista lang yung mga kailangan na medyo priority per week. Then ni-spread na ho yan sa dailies. Then ako ho kasi medyo madami pang firefighting within the day. So yung dailies ho ginagawang guide na lang para yun yung uunahin early in the morning. Parang ganyan. Then after nun, at least nawala na yun sa listahan, yung mga firefighting na dumarating. Ayun, pwedeng asikasuhin pa isa-isa. Ganun lang po sa akin.
Ayos na. Sige. Si Lizelle. Lizelle, pwede ka ba? Gusto naman natin makarinig. Yan, Lizelle.
Hi, sir. Ay, nako, yung dailies na yan. Gusto ko yung pare-parehas kami. Pag ikaw talaga kausap, yung dailies na alala. Actually, ako as freelance answer, ano pa din siya, ginagawa ko pa rin siya. Kahit hindi mo nga siya chine-check, sir, kahit hindi ko siya pinapacheck sa'yo, I'm still using it kasi Australian-based yung yung client ko. So maaga kami nagsisimula. And ano talaga, though flexible yung oras ko, kailangan ko ng checklist kasi I want to be productive. I don't want to get, busy. Gusto ko maging productive ako sa araw ko. So I need checklist talaga. Yun lang.
Sige, pwede na tayong mag-close. Let's pray. The joke lang. Ano ba yan? Lahat ng kinausap natin is all about checklist. Sige, maganda yan. So for those who are not familiar with dailies, now you will be familiar after this session. So the session is inspired actually by these books, diba? Yung Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. So he is a surgeon, he's a doctor, no? Tapos yung principles, balita ko mahusay yung sumulat nito, yung Florentino A. Hernando. Ayan. So may kwento diyan kung paano nag-umpisa yung dailies at saka yung mahusay yung co-author niyan, no? Yung Bianca Angeles, yan. Tapos yung mga contributing author, mga Jason De La Rosa, ayan, si Amanda ng Shapets, at saka si Alfonso ng Cosmic. Anyway, so yan ang mga inspiration natin. Let's talk about the Checklist Manifesto muna, no? Sige, so how does that work? Ayan, nawawala na naman yung cursor ko. Ayan, so case study muna tayo very quickly. Okay, so this is directly from the Checklist Manifesto and I wanted to capture it word per word, verbatim. So, if you want to know the case study, anuhin nyo na lang siya, basahin nyo na lang siya. But in 2001, a critical care specialist at Johns Hopkins Hospital, his name is Peter Pronovost, he decided to create a doctor's checklist. Tapos, he designed it to tackle just one of the 100 of potential tasks, yung central line infection. Kasi central line infection, it's a sort of an error, a mistake of in the medical field, na it has become so prevalent, it has become normal na. So it's not supposed to be normal, pero dahil yung error, as human we're prone to error, yung central line infection is kind of embraced na nangyayari na talaga yan. No? So he decided in a sheet of paper, he plotted out the steps to take in order to avoid the infections when you're putting a central line. So yan, wash your hands, clean the patient's skin, put sterile drapes, wear a mask, yung full gown, and then put sterile dressing over the insertion site once the line is in. So basically, this is something that every doctor knows what to do. Okay. Now, what he decided to do is he asked the nurses in ICU to observe the doctors kung paano nila ginagawa yung trabaho nila. And then i-record nila how often the doctors carried out each step. And here's what they discovered, no? At least a third, dun sa mga pasyente na yon, yung mga doktor, they skip at least one. No wonder the infection is rampant. Diba? A third, so you don't want to be part of the third, na may nalampasan ng doktor natin sa dapat niyang gawin. Diba? Okay, so the next month, he and his team persuaded the admin. Yan, so si Lizelle yan, so corporate affairs. No, operations na pala, nag-operations pala si Lizelle. So he persuaded the admin na i-authorize yung mga nurses to stop doctors if they saw na nag-i-skip yung mga doctor ng steps sa checklist. Now, nurses have some sort of a persuasive power when it comes to the doctors pagdating sa ganito, no? They are able to persuade the doctors. Pero ngayon, because the admin has supported this, and this is very important, no, sa leadership, the admin has now supported the enforcing of the checklist. Mas naging confident ngayon ang mga nurses to intervene and stop the operation or whatever's happening if they see or they saw that a doctor skipped a step. So mas may confidence na sila, they're backed by the higher order, na they can stop the doctors if they see na meron silang in-skip na step. So a year afterwards, si Pronovost and his colleagues monitored what happened. And the results were so dramatic, hindi sila makapaniwala na totoo ba to? Kasi ito yung mga nangyari. Yung 10-day line infection rate went from 11% to 0. Please type 0. Okay? 11% infection rate naging 0. What's next? They calculated that in this one hospital, it prevented, how many infections? Paki-chat din dyan. Diba? And 43 infections, 8 deaths, saved $2 million in cost. That's $2 million. Multiply that by 50, sabihin na natin. That's a what? 100,000 pesos worth of savings. Diba? Ano pa? Because of the success, si Pronovost decided, okay, it's time to scale. Ganun naman tayo, di ba? If something is working, before you scale, you optimize first yung process. Diba? Atomic habits yon. So, after they were able to perfect this, the pocket of greatness, they decided to scale it. So, nag-recruit siya ng more colleagues. And one checklist was designed to ensure that nurses observe patients for pain at least once every 4 hours. Tapos mag-provide ng timely medication. Ito ngayon ang nangyari. From 41%, dropped down to 3%. The likelihood of a patient's enduring untreated pain. 41 to 3%. They also found that simply having doctors and nurses in ICU creating their own checklist na empower na yung mga other doctors in creating their checklist, it actually extended consistently care to the point that the average patient stay, they drop in half because of empowering the fellow doctors and nurses to create their own checklist. In 2003, and this is nabigyan na sila ng authority ng Michigan Health and Hospital Association. In-approach siya si Pronovost. Sabi niya, can you test it through the state of Michigan, yung checklist na yan? So sort of naging consultant na rito si Pronovost, no? And it has become known as the Keystone Initiative, where each hospital assigned a project manager to execute the checklist and then participate in twice a month conference for troubleshooting and coaching kay Pronovost. So this is very important. If you are a CEO, there must be someone who is outside the organization who is helping you, from time to time, kahit once a month or twice a month yan. As andyan si Coach Ron, diba? Andito ako, andito yung ibang mga fellow, andyan si Coach RD to provide assistance, si FM sa ads. So the point is, as CEO, we can't do it all. We need to have someone from the outside to give us a fresh perspective of how things are operating. Kasi masyado tayong nose in the grindstone. Anyway, moving on. So in December 26, the Keystone Initiative published its finding in a landmark article in New England Journal. That's about 5 years after executing the checklist project, the Keystone Initiative. And this is the result. Okay, first 3 months of the project, the central line infection rate decreased by 66%. Think of your company, yung errors dropping 66%. Diba? And this is ICU, where every day is firefighting. Diba? Si Sir Errol nga sabi niya, he's firefighting ngayon sa company niya. Imagine sa ICU, where sa kanya every day, every hour, you're really firefighting. Yeah. So they cut their quarterly infection rate to paki-type uli. 'Di ba? Gaano kalaki ang binaba? Yan, 0. Talaga si Chris, 'di ba? Yan, 0. That's the quarterly infection rate. It dropped down to 0. Okay. Michigan's infection rates fell so low that its average ICU outperformed how many daw? Please type. Gusto ko tong data na to na-outperform nila how many daw? Ayan. Salamat sa nag-iisa kong... Ayan. Thank you. 90% outperforming your competition. If you're in an industry, imagine you're outperforming 90% of your competitor. Diba? You're the 10%. Okay? And in the first 18 months, hospitals saved $175 million in cost and more than 1,500 lives. That's 1,500. Now, if hindi pa kayo na-convince dito, I have no idea why, di ba? So, I loved how the story, I loved it so much kasi gustong-gusto ko paano kinlose ni Atul Gawande yung story na to, yung what do you call this, yung case study na ito. And I was about to type it down. Sabi ko, wag nang i-type. Gagawin ko, i-screenshot ko na lang kung ano yung closing statement niya. Okay? And then pinost ko rito. So ito yung closing statement niya. So yan ang sabi niya. The success have been sustained for several years now. All because of a, pakitype yung buong phrase, all because of a what? Para may interaction tayo. Stupid little checklist. I don't know about you, but if I'm going to compete my competitors, 90% of them, by using a simple and stupid little checklist, yun na lang ang gagawin ko, di ba? Ba't ko papahirapan sarili ko? Ayan, sa fact na naman, nasampal na naman ang ating mga participants ngayon. Ayan, sige. So, proceed tayo. Okay, let's make it personal. So, according to the book I've recently written, Principles, again, biased ako. Ang pinaka-favorite kong book ay Notes na sinulat ko. Kasi yun ang first book ko. But this comes close second. No? If you want a copy, alam nyo na kung anong kailangan gawin. So, I shared the story of how I ended up using the checklist. So, I was a teacher nung time na to. No? And you know, if you're a teacher, it wasn't my first job, but being a teacher, alam ni Jobs to, si Jobs, naging teacher yan. Sa teaching profession talaga puso yan. So salute sa mga academe na mga fellow academics natin. Ayan. So pag teacher ka, you wake up early, you go to school because you're supposed to be the first one in school at hindi ka naman papasok doon pag oras na ng klase mo eh, 'di ba? May preparation time ka pa. At late kang uuwi, minsan OTY pa, 'di ba? Tapos pag OTY mo, dadalhin mo pa yung trabaho sa bahay. Alam ko 'yan, 'di ba? So ganyan ko nabola si Tidoy. Yan. Konting segue lang, may oras ako. 'Di ba? Nung first time kaming nag-meet ni Tidoy, talagang by design dala-dala ko yung mga test paper. Pa-impress eh. 'Di ba? Nag-date kami sa may landmark. Hindi pa nga date 'yan, pero para sa akin date na 'yan. Sa kanya minute na lang ako. Tapos pinakita ko yung mga test papers. Sabi ko, grabe kung mga test paper, mga bata talaga. Medyo makukulit sila. So, yun. So, nabola ko yung asawa ko. Ayan, 11 years na kami magkasama ngayon. Anyway, so ganun yung buhay. You wake up early, you go to church, you go to school early, you leave late, and then you bring home work. And it's, I was teaching grades 1 to 6. So, imagine, di ba? My daughter is a girl, and medyo hyper pa siya, nahihirapan na ako. Babae pa yan. How much more you have 30? Diba? So, it was really a mess. So, I decided, sabi ko, there has to be something to do to regain my sanity. And I went there early. Sabi ko, I was more time for me to reflect. I decided to get a scratch paper. Scratch paper lang to. And then I wrote down, sabi ko, what are the most critical things I need to accomplish today? That was a question I asked myself. What's the most important thing I need to accomplish today? That pag na-accomplish ko to, happy ako. You know, I feel productive. I feel everything's done. And then I wrote it down. I ended up with around 6 items. So 6 items. And then I computed the time. Yung iba 5 minutes lang, iba 30. So let's say 30 minutes isa. I did, that's about 6. So 30 minutes times 6, that's about 3 hours. Diba? 30, 60, 30, 60. So I have 3 hours. All it takes for me to accomplish the critical things that I need to do is just 6 hours. 3 hours. And I go to work at around 9 hours. Diba? 8 hours plus 1 hour break. So what will I do with the next 5 hours? So I have more time. And then the following morning, I did that again. Wrote down, I asked myself, first thing in the morning, what do I need to do? What are the most critical things I need to accomplish today? And then I started writing down. That was what? 2007, 2008. You know? And that became what I call the hit list. It evolved years after into what you call now the dailies. Ayan, so nasa Google Cloud na siya, nasa Excel na siya. At si Birthday Boy Jonel ang gumagawa ng ating system ngayon. Ayan, so masisimplify. I'm just using an Google Sheet. You know, and I do this every day. And you can see here, yung mga sheets na yan, mga companies yan. So, nandyan si M-Star, nandyan si WeTrade, nandyan si Sellers Hub, nandyan si Gramworth, nandyan si BTL. So, it eventually evolved into what we call now the dailies. And later, I'll extract how we can do that in our company, how we can execute that in our company. Okay, so far, so good. Ayan. Please type yes if you are enjoying the session. Yan, thank you. Okay. Alright. So, question. Bago tayo pumunta ron, why is it that many do not use the checklist? Okay. In my experience and according to Atul Gawande also, may tatlong reason. The first one is, it's simple. Napaka-simple niya. And the wrong assumption, I will emphasize the wrong assumption. Since it's simple, it's low-tech. Totoo naman eh. It's pen and paper. It's low-tech. And since it's low-tech, it's ineffective. Yun yung mentality many of us assume. Na dahil low-tech ito, simple eh. Low-tech. So it's not really effective. Apparently, it's not true. So that's one. It's very simple. The second is, it's boring. Diba? Nakaka-boring kasi paulit-ulit mong isusulat. Gagawin ko to araw-araw. Lalo na, ma-high blood na naman ako bago ako pumunta sa kwento na yun. Anyway, so it's boring, to take 5 minutes of your time to sit down and think, to write down what are the most important things I need to do today. Okay, and actually, those two things are really not the culprit. Sabi ni Atul Gawande, the biggest barrier in adopting a checklist is because of this. It's the arrogance. Kasi, doktor na ako eh. Mag-checklist pa ako. Diba? Manager ako eh. CEO ako eh. Diba? Naging CEO nga ako nang wala akong checklist eh. Diba? Naging manager nga ako, ilang beses akong na-promote eh. So, bakit ako mag-checklist? Diba? Tsaka simple yan, low-tech. Okay? So, that's why, sabi niya, yan ang biggest barrier in adopting a checklist system. Wherein, here's the secret talaga dyan. It's not actually true na you don't need checklist. Kasi at first glance, it makes sense. Na totoo nga naman, naging manager ako ng wala akong checklist eh. Diba? Parang, tapos ngayong manager na ako, ngayon ako mag-checklist. What many do not understand, and here's what I realized, is that when you become people manager or when you become a CEO, when you were a frontliner, routinary yung trabaho. So madaling i-memorize. Diba? Yun at yun lang. It doesn't take much mental tax in our brain. You just do it. And then we get so good at it, becomes a habit, becomes automatic. Eventually, we get promoted to managing people. And if you're a people manager, you're a CEO, you know this to be true. People are really, irrational. Diba? Hindi yan predictable. Promise, ang tao, hindi siya predictable. Processes are predictable. People are not. So the complexity happens when we're now managing people. Diba? Yung expectation natin na they will show up at this certain time, tapos hindi mangyayari, diba? Ano nangyari? Nakadepende ko sa'yo. Yung mga ganun ba? So it's not, people are not predictable, and that's okay. I'm not, we have that instances. So imagine if you're managing one person, hindi natin siya ma-predict. Imagine kung may 10 ka pa. Diba? Ang hirap, it's now become complex. So since things are complex, we need something that will make sure that the most important things are being executed. And since complex ang trabaho natin, we can't rely on memory anymore. Okay? That's why checklist is very important. Yes? Diba? Kasi sa sobrang dami ng nangyayari, hindi na kaya ng brains natin maalala lahat. Kaya mas nagiging critical ang checklist at sinusulat yon the more that we go higher into the organization and the more people that we manage. Yan. Sige. So, recap natin. Why many do not use the checklist is because it's simple. Simple is low-tech. Low-tech is ineffective. That's a wrong assumption. Second, it's boring. Diba? Nakakatamad naman talaga na yun. Lalo na, yayabangan pa na, I'm in the creative industry. Diba? 2021 na ngayon. 2022 na pala. Diba? Late pa ako 1 year. 2022 na Facebook Live pa rin ako. My goodness naman. Mag-ano na tayo? Zoom na tayo. Okay, next. May sense of arrogance. Okay, this happens to the best of us. Nangyayari sa atin ito, no? I had to force myself to discipline myself in doing the checklist. But it happened like, by force talaga. That was 12 years ago? 15 years ago. Give or take. Okay. So here's the question. Here's the not the question, but here's the principle why checklists matter. I'm going to give you 4 reasons why checklists matter. Number 1, because it makes us efficient. The efficiency of checklists. No, I've been a checklist man since 2008, but I've been doing informal checklists prior to that. And medyo may time pa tayo yan. Share ko lang sa inyo, no, I had an old account. Medyo famous pala ako, di ba? Kasi nahack ako eh. Imagine that, may nang-hack pa ng account ko. Anyway, nahack yung old account ko, so I had to create a new one. And medyo wary na tayo ng mga pag-accept ng mga friend request kasi lalo na pag hindi natin kilala. Anyway, so I got hacked. But 2019 of November, I wrote this down. You know, and I was at labor na rito. So sabi rito, when you know exactly what you must do, work takes less time. You don't have to stop and think about what you need to do next. You can simply get on with work. True. Diba? Pag alam mo na kung ano yung kailangan mong gawin, just get it done. Efficient. And I'm an ENTJ personality type. Diba? I'm an efficiency guy. I don't rely on feelings. I'm really more on results guy. Ayan. So, it's really all about being efficient. Ang gusto ko, mahanap ko yung shortcut ng shortcut. Ayan. Ganun ang personality type ko. It's my wiring. I cannot help myself. I look for patterns and I just want to make my life easy. So yun. Okay, di ba? So it makes you efficient. Then since you're efficient, it increases productivity. Diba? Kasi you're efficient na, you get stuff done, you're much more productive. Checklist accelerates execution because it ensures we get the right things done. When we have a checklist at nakalagay doon yung mga critical activities, meron tayong guide na gagawin yon at in the event na hindi natin magawa yan, meron tayong babalikan. Hindi memory lang. Kasi I shared this, I believe, kay Chris last this session. No? The strongest memory is no match for the weakest lead. Yung lead ng pencil. Kahit pag gaano kaganda or katalas ang memory natin, walang laban yan pag nakasulat yon. You know? Tama eh. Sa fuck na naman ba? Sa fuck. Ayan. So, it's very, and yun ang maganda, it ensures that we get the right things done. Tumpak! Ayan. So, sulat natin yan. Right? Now, dito sa susunod, so we're efficiency, productivity. The next one, creativity. And this is what I discovered last night. And this is what I love about principles of scaling. Not only is it helping other people build their business when they build their organizations as well, when they're learning something new, I also learned something na nare-realize ko na, kaya pala ganun. So, checklist and creativity kasi may mga nakilala ako, mga CEO, mga manager, parang I'm a creative person kasi gusto ko yung, ayoko nung repeat eh. You know, I'm very creative. I just talk to the hand, alam mo yun. Kasi, ano lang yun, it's an excuse, di ba? Don't hide behind creativity. The truth is you're just arrogant and you're lazy. Just like me when I was starting, di ba? So, creativity, how does that work? Okay, how does that work? Let me share. So, put some neuroscience into this. Okay? So the brain is an energy hog, meaning vacuum ng energy ang brain natin. It consumes a lot of energy, ang brain natin. And right now, billions of neurons are firing in your brain when you're trying to process something. So kaya etong dahilan bakit pagkatapos ng session, umattend kayo ng principles of scaling or nagkaroon kayo ng circle meeting or na whatever it is that you're doing, you're trying to process new information. Parang pagod na pagod tayo pagkatapos nun. Pero kung iisipin mo, nakinig lang naman ako, hindi naman ako nagagalaw. Bakit? And it's because of that. Because the brains right now are processing information, is firing billions of neurons, and it's consuming energy. Okay? So that's why we're very exhausted when you attend principles of scaling. Ayan, yung mga tumpak, mga safak, di ba? Ayan. Now, to give you an idea how true this is, kaya pag nag-engage sa akin ang mga CEO, humingi akong permission kay kay Chris dito. Ganyan ang mga itsura nila, di ba? Ayan. So we were doing the DNA of MStarNet. Ayan. And that. So CEO na to, ha? Imagine that. I love this photo. Thank you, Chris, for letting me share this. Ayan. Diba? Kasi they're trying to kay Dragon. She's trying to process information. It's really nerve-wracking. It consumes a lot of energy in our brain. Ayan. So that's what you get when you engage with me. Kaya I'm not for everyone. Ayan. Para lang sa mga gusto makipag-safakan. Ayan. Okay. So now checklist, this is where checklist comes in. Checklist automates thinking. Diba? It's like you're driving a car. No, being clear, ang tunay na lalaki drive stick, manual, diba? Real men drive 3 pedals. Diba? But syempre, may mga sasakyan na automatic. Hindi mo naman pagka automatic ang sasakyan mo, ay sarap ng buhay. Diba? Para ka nagbabump car. Ayan, yung gas. Diba? So, sa sasakyan, pagka automatic ang gamit mo, pwede mong yung paa mo ipatong mo yung isang paa mo, no, ipatong mo dito sa may dashboard mo, 'di ba? Kasi talagang lilipad ka lang lalo na pag traffic, tapos nasa Manila ka, Diyos ko, sakit sa tuhod, tapos manual, yan yung kinakasakit ng ng puso ko eh. Ang sakit na sa gas, 'di ba? Sakit sa bulsa dahil sa gas. Tapos ang dami mo pang gagawin pagka aandar ka. Tapos yung dito 75, being clear, 75 ang gasolina rito. Ayan. So, maganda naman dito ngayon, walang traffic, tuloy-tuloy. Ayan. So na-enjoy ko yung manual ko. Anyway, so pag automatic, you can remove your hand, you can use the other hand to do some stuff, 'di ba? Kami ni Tidoy, pag nagda-drive kami, 'di ba? Gusto ko laging hawak yung kamay niya. Kaya lang I have to shift gear. So, hindi ko binibitawan ko yung kamay niya. But if automatic yan, kahit mag-holding hands kayo hanggang mula Manila hanggang Labo, okay lang yun. Diba? Kasi matic yan. Anyway, it automates thinking. Ganon din ang ginagawa ng checklist. Since automatic na, since nakasulat na yung mga kailangan natin gawin, it frees up our energy. It gives us more space in our mental hard drive. Just like in driving a car that's automatic, you can do a lot of stuff with your other hand, your feet. Ganun din ang ating brains, no? Because we have a checklist, nagkakaroon tayo ng maraming time, nagkakaroon tayo maraming space and more energy because it's already automatic na yung mga kailangan nating gawin eh. And because of that, we have plenty of time and energy for thinking creatively. I hope that makes sense. So basically, ang gusto kong sabihin dito, checklist automates our thinking, and since automatic na yon, we have more time and energy to think creatively. So that's why checklist actually fuels creativity of a person. That's why it's very important. So efficiency, productivity, creativity, and last but not the least, it's transferability. Since may checklist ka na, and I alluded about this last session, no? You can now transfer the task, which makes you more efficient, more productive, more creative. Diba? Since nakasulat na pwede mo na ngayon i-delegate yung mga task na yon. That gives you another 9 hours of work. But that's why we can scale. Ayan, diba? So that's why I can go to the beach every Saturday para makapag-enjoy with my family kasi I have someone who is now doing the day-to-day task. Yan. Okay, so those are the 4 things, no? You can take time off when you have a checklist. So in short, checklist is a performance amplifier. That's why when I was doing this, kaya pala ganun. Kaya pala ang dami kong oras, ang dami kong nagagawa dahil sa checklist na to. That's the science behind it. Checklist is a performance amplifier. So a quick segue lang, no. In 2019, my family went to Japan, and I shared this, I think, in the 1% Better, no. And when we went to Japan, and I was at Labor this time, dito si Rizel noon. She can attest this. I was a director of strategic management and org design. So I was running one division, that's 5 departments. So corporate affairs, L&D, human capital, operational excellence, at saka supply chain. So yun, di ba na yun? And we went there for 5 days. So usually, and working with me, Lizelle knows this, and those who work with me, I'm very demanding. Diba? Nakakabwisit nga daw ako, sabi ni Lizelle, pero kailangan yung daw ako. So, true yan. Yeah, diba? So, working with me, I'm very demanding. I want to get, I would just want to keep getting better. So imagine if you're working with me and I'm your boss and mawawala ako sa country for 5 days. Diba? Woo! Diba? Sarap! Wala si boss for 5 days. Diba? Pupunta sa Japan. That's a good news. Unfortunately, by this time, meron na kaming tinatawag na base camp. So, sa base camp, when we went to Japan, this is the entire family celebrating the 69th birthday of my mom. Yan. So, that's us, Johan. And we went to Universal Studio. So, bago pa ako sumakay doon sa Jurassic Park na munti ka matanggal yung leg ko, sa base camp na yon na ginagawa namin, so this is a form of it, nakalagay na rin yung mga task ng mga nagre-report sa akin. So nakikita ko na, overdue to. I'm on God mode basically. The term is God mode. I see everything. I see what everyone is doing and I can add a task anytime of the day, anywhere in the world, all the time. So that's God mode. No? And before I went to Jurassic Park, in pterodactyl na ride, I was checking, Berna, but overdue to. So it was like I was still in the office. Diba? So it wasn't like I went to Japan. It was like I was there. So yun yung when pandemic hit, no, that's the reason why it's like business as usual for me. Because I've been doing this for 5 years already. I formally instituted this to my team 2014. And then nag-evolve lang siya. But the principle is still the same. So normal lang nung new normal when everyone was transitioning to Zoom and how to be productive. It was easy for me because we already have this. All right? Ayan, sige. So let's get practical. I still have time. Let's get practical. How do you install the daily system, the checklist? Okay? The components of a dailies. So ito, 4 na T. You have to have a teammate, there's task, there's target, and then there's timeline. Okay? Isa-isahin ko yan. What does teammate mean? Okay? Kinakailangan, using this principle, using this format rather, there's a person accountable. So these are companies. Diba? I cannot share yung mga yung ibang companies. But I will share my daily. So MNS, that's MN Starnet, Seller Sub is SH, CIA, CEOInsight Asia, and then we trade yung nasa baba niyan. But so usually this is CEO na kausap ko. So MNS, that's Chris. And then after writing down the name of the person accountable, the teammate, you have to put the task. Diba? Malinaw dapat kung ano yung task. So in my case, ito, na hindi ko pa nagagawa, diba? So alam kong may overdue, may kakausapin ako mamaya. Diba? Kasi ba't hindi pa nasa-send ito? Diba? So that's the power of these dailies. I see what everyone is doing. Alam ko na overdue ito and I have to talk to someone. Diba? So you write the task and then there's a target. Dapat may number. If you're going to talk to me, you have to talk to me in VNT. Verb, number, task. Yan. So there. Post 1 DNA and then there's a timeline. So teammate, pangalanan. Hindi pwedeng, in my case dito, MNS. But in your company, you should put a name. Dapat may pangalan kung sino yung gagawa. No? Hindi pwedeng marketing team. No, sino sa marketing team? Hindi pwedeng finance team. Dapat may pangalan yun. Kasi pag hindi malinaw yung pangalan, hindi pwedeng magturuan. So pag may pangalan yun, may ownership. Tapos may task. Ano yung task? Diba? Task starts with a verb. Okay? So hindi pwedeng, kunyari, pangalan is FA. And then acknowledgement receipt. Anong gagawin ko ron? Diba? You have to say what you want to do. Send and then put a number. Dapat may number. So I love Anika Steffi Oy. Shout out to her if she's listening. One of the best associates I work with. Siya ang nagsabi sa akin ito. Nothing is as objective as a number. And siya, contributing writer ko siya sa Principles. So read the book. Anyway, so sabi niya, nothing is as objective as a number. Sa number, it's yes or no lang. Walang feeling ko, okay, feeling ko nakuha ko siya. No, it's either 1 or 0. It's a zero-sum game. Okay? So put a number, a target, and then a timeline. When? Okay? So ako, medyo normal pa ako kasi sa akin, basta may target date yan, okay na yan. Ito si BK, hindi to normal. Si BK, di ba? Ayan. May oras pa yung kay BK. So, kung sa tingin niya, demanding ako. Ayan. Di ba? Totoo ba yan? Di ba? Dapat may oras. Ayan. Ako wala na nga akong oras pero si BK may oras sa kanya. Di ba? So, Mas maganda yan, no? But anyway, bahala na kayo kung anong gusto nyo gawin sa buhay nyo. Basta importante, there's a teammate, there's a task, there's a target, there's a timeline. Okay? So far, so good? Yes? Ayan. Please type yes if you're still with yes. Ayan. Okay. Okay. The most effective daily system. Okay. This is the most effective daily system. 4 na T din ito. Okay. So there has to be time, transparency, tenacity, and trusted partner. Isa-isahin ko. So when you're creating a dailies, there has to be a scheduled time. I do it every morning. Around 9 a.m., they call it, the CEOs call it fireballs. Fireballs. So makaka-receive na sila sa messenger nila, sa sa telegram nila. Minsan hindi pa nga binabasa. Chris, diba? Ini-ignore na ako kasi Oda, ayan. Diba? Kasi every 9 a.m., meron na yan. Meron akong, pag may kailangan ako, isa-send ko na yung dailies na yun. Nakasulat na yun doon. So when you have your own daily system, write down, set a schedule. Hindi pwedeng kung kailan you feel. Hindi, kalendaryo nyo talaga kasi pag importante kinakalendaryo. Diba? So put it there. Then, transparent. Everyone can see. Everyone has access to it. Okay, so like me, everyone can see my dailies. So that helps me execute. Kasi may maniningil eh. Kita eh. High transparency, high accountability. High accountability, high execution. Diba? So, ganun ang critical principle natin dito. Kaya nga, ayoko na mag-plug. Diba? Basta yun. Diba? Alam nyo na yun. Kaya yung first order daw, pag siya ay nanalo, is release transparency. Kaya maraming kumukontra. Okay, ayaw maging accountable. Okay, so next is tenacity. Okay, what is tenacity? Tenacity is consistency. As CEOs, as business owner, dapat tayo ang number 1 na naglalagay ng dailies doon. And it's called dailies kasi every day. Diba? Dailies every day. Kahit 1 lang, just 1. Doesn't have to be 10. Just at least 1 may entry ka. Saturday, Sundays, I do my dailies. Pero for personal na yun. Na minsan hindi kasi may message ko pa rin sila. Sila Errol. Sorry na, sir. Ayan. Sila Christian, sila Mel. But anyway, just write 1 task. And we cannot expect our teammates to write their dailies if we, the leaders, diba, dapat we should be taking the lead in making sure that that dailies are written there consistently. Okay? So dapat merong tayo ang nangunguna diyan sa paglalagay ng dailies. Kasi pag hindi updated ang dailies natin, huwag tayong magugulat kung yung mga teammates natin hindi rin updated. Kasi babalik nila sa atin yun. Sabihin nila, ba't ako maglalagay ng dailies? Ikaw nga, ang dami mong overdue eh. Diba? Oh, truth. Have a blessed Sunday. Tapos pag sumagot, alam na. Okay, next. Diba, pahuli eh, no? Okay, next is a trusted partner. This is very important. And this is what I say, 90% of my value as an executive advisor. But I'm not plugging, diba? It's because someone is holding the CEO accountable. Diba? Kasi pag CEO, ikaw yung boss eh. Diba? So walang makakakontra sa'yo. Kaya ako, kinokontra ko yung mga CEO. Kasi that's what they're paying me to do. Diba? Pagalitan sila pag hindi nangyayari yung dapat mangyari. Because if I don't do that, I'm not doing my job. Right? Now, trusted partner doesn't mean an outside source. Maganda yun, may outside ka. But you can do like si Ayan and si BK. They're trusted partner. Si Oda, si Chris. Si Stacy, tsaka si RD. Have someone you trust who will hold you accountable to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do as CEO and vice versa. So you can hold your company accountable to get stuff done. Yes? Okay. Please type dailies. I need you daw. May H yun. I need you. Ayan. Sige. Okay. In closing, we're talking about obsessing in performance. I think this is one of the values that I love pagdating sa CEO Insights, no? The being methodical, because it affects who I am. Siguro this is my favorite, missional and then methodical. Multiplier is those two things. They stand on equal, pero ito yung mas gusto ko kasi mas ito ko eh. So I'm obsessed in performance, and pag narinig ko yung obsessed, dalawa lang ang obsessing in performance, 2 tao lang naalala ko. Number 1 si BK Rivera. In fact, it is part of their core values. I don't know, yung driven, diba? Obsessing in pursuing our goals. The other one is si Kobe Bryant. Okay, so Mamba mentality, January 2020, Kobe Bryant died. And 2 weeks before that, I was watching his interview kay Patrick Bet-David, and he talked about being obsessive. No? And then when he died, I wrote something in my blog. So I have a blog, fahernando.wordpress.com. Anyway, hindi na siya updated kasi I'm writing books. And ito yung biggest takeaway ko ron. No? I'm just gonna share very briefly yung sinulat ko ron. Lagay niya rin, sabi ni Kobe Bryant sa interview, I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players that ever played. And anything else that outside that lane, I had no time for. Imagine yung obsession niya in getting better as a basketball player. No, so even relationships, if it doesn't help me become better, you're still friend, but I'm not gonna spend much time with you. Playing golf or not, he tried to play golf, but he doesn't see the value of this making him a better basketball player. Hindi siya nag-golf. Diba? So ganun ka-obsess si Kobe Bryant in being a better basketball player. Sabi niya rito, everything was done to become a better basketball player. Everything. So when you have that point of view, literally the world becomes your library to help you become better at your craft. Yung obsession in getting better filters everything that he does. And he said this, great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses. And I'm not a fan or a critic of Kobe. I have to acknowledge my respect with him, for him, kasi may 5 championships siya, tsaka may 3-peat doon. But this one, I not agree entirely on this quote. Kasi na-realize ko, hard work, true, but you can make it easier by using a checklist. So checklist makes results easier. Diba? So for me, great results came from hard work, sure, but we can make it easier using a checklist.